Well, hi everyone. This is Ellen Marie Francisco. Thanks for coming into my channel. Today we're going to talk about April 1st, full moon, pink moon. It is called the pink moon because it's a little softer hue. It does represent the birthing spring. So I'm going to tune into April 1st. It's funny when I'm looking at it, it feels a little dark, even though it's spring. That could have to do with things on the world stage moving around and clearing out as we're edging into our new growth cycles. What could be illuminated on this full moon on April 1st? We're all grounding in a little bit better. I just took a look at the collective energy, and it does look like a lot of energy is just moving towards the earth, which makes sense. It's going to be warmer. We may be outdoors more. We may be playing with the earth a little bit more. So all of these things that were kind of hovering up above us for months could be just cascading down in a more helpful way, in a way that we can metabolize and nourish and fortify. It feels like it's a good fortifying full moon. And you know what? I feel like we're getting used to the energies of the new world a little bit. I think we're settling into the inevitabilities that change is on the horizon. Enough of the dissolving old world is showing us that we can start again. It's almost like we're more comfortable with our emotional realities. We're more settled in the sense of self that was required, that we needed for this year. And I do feel like it's very heart opening in April as well. We're going to see what's coming in the cards, but that's what I'm picking up to begin with. And yeah, it feels like the universal energies. It's almost like all the love of the universe is trying to find us. That's what it feels like. It doesn't feel as fractured or as fear driven. It feels a little bit more like hope and renewal. The Wheel of Fortune is jumping out of the cards here. So let's talk about her for a second. The Wheel of Fortune brings us a lot of opportunity, and there can be a lot of testing with her. She'll bring us opportunities, but she'll check to see what we're choosing. Sometimes there'll be red flags that come in with these new opportunities, almost like our old self wants to grab at an opportunity, thinking it's really good. And then we get a better sense that, oh, maybe it doesn't actually fit us. Maybe it fits our old world. Maybe it doesn't fit our new world. So it does come in with a bit of caution. Be aware to think things through, to feel things through, to allow all the energies to be seen rather than just the energies you want to look at. Sometimes we'll have tunnel vision when the opportunities come to us. So the Wheel of Fortune, I feel, is always waiting to see, are we going to choose high on the tree of life, or are we going to grab what's fallen on the ground that's easy, that might be festering and putrefying on the ground? I'll see this in a lot of times with people who are dating. They want a relationship, and they're just so thirsty for the relationship. They'll get online, they'll do their foraging through the forest of possibilities, and then they'll grab at the first guy that comes around or the first girl that comes around without really feeling into, well, is this the best relationship for me, or am I just going to grab onto it and make the best of it? So, and then there could be somebody around the corner waiting for you who's more aligned with your highest ideals and your new ideas for what you want for yourself, or all the best ideas that were always there and ready for you if you had just waited long enough to allow them. So I would say, have patience when the opportunities arise. Be willing to choose with your heart. This could be the time that you have some of the best breakthroughs in the things that you need and want. And Wheel of Fortune is going to measure everything anyway. And universe matches your energy. So if you're willing to reach high and negotiate higher for yourself, oh, I want something better. I want something better. She's going to not disappoint, and you're not going to be disappointed in the long run either. So have the patience to really look at the things that you need out of a situation, be willing to meet yourself more than halfway, and be willing to let the universe give you the best, not the worst. That's how we're starting. The Page of Pentacles. Wow. I don't remember a time that we've ever had a collective card with a page in any of the readings I've done in years. That's beautiful. Pages are young. The pages are new. Sometimes they don't age. They keep their youth into late into their life. And they do that because they have the energy. They have the light energy, the new energy, the energies that are willing to look at every day like it's the first day they've ever had here. So they don't hold a grudge. They're not resentful. They're just open to the new world, into the new energies that are breaking with the new dawn. So I think this is a very, very good sign. And it's also a pentacle card. So it does show our own worthiness on earth. It shows that 3D part of ourselves that can manifest in the 3D world. Any of the things that are our highest ideals, we need to make manifest on the world our desires. So it could be that you're very much more available to yourself to make your dreams come true, to be willing to let the world give to you and nurture you as well. And also there's a certain degree of vulnerability that comes in with this card as well. Like you may be naive to a certain degree, but that may work to your benefit. And the vulnerability may also work to your benefit too, if you're leading with your heart and if you're open. So yeah, a lot can really take flight and take bloom during this whole cycle. And it's about time. So it could be that you're seeing that some of the seeds you planted weeks and weeks and months ago, working towards, are finally showing the hope of the bloom into this spring energy and into the coming summer months. Hallelujah. Okay. And with us crossing in our collective, crossing the energies with our collective card is the Hierophant. The Hierophant can be a legacy card. It can be the card that tells us that we have a future. Sometimes the page is kids too, by the way. So, and that makes sense. I do want to talk about that too, since now that I've seen that the Hierophant is going to be crossing us here. The world is finally understanding that children are the legacy of the world, and that there has to be some protection and new laws and new approaches with protecting the children. Obviously, this is a sign of the times, and it could be that the world stage, the adults, the old masters, the ones that know better and have influence, could be doing everything that they can to protect the vulnerable youth in the world. Yeah, so I think it's going to be a very interesting time period for things coming to light. And also I just see legislation, I see laws, I see protecting the legacy of our youth. Could be anything that was in the warp sense with children in these last number of years could be getting sorted out through this cycle of this full moon. We're still under the influence of eclipses too. So all the things that came to light before this full moon could be helping to push the agenda to protect and to safeguard the vulnerability and the naivety of children. Oh, and here's another child. And we had this card in my last spread that I did for the new moon in March. I feel when I'm feeling into this card too, things are coming out, more things are coming out, more things are being revealed, that people are studying things and looking to increase their knowledge base around a lot of topics. This is a lot of throat chakra energy as well. Truth. There could be more young people speaking out as well, I guess, is what I'm feeling around this as well. and a certain sense of earnestness to go along with it. We have the Fool card. Who's playing the fool? Who wants to be the fool? Who's willing to be the fool and listen to the God force and to allow the leap of faith as we trudge upon a new ground and a new path? It's going to be a new way. There's going to be a lot of new energies that come through this cycle, and God force is definitely coming in. A lot of helpful vulnerability with this card too, like if you can not be too entrenched in your brain, you're probably going to have a better sense of what to do with yourself instead of overthinking things. You could just feel your way through it. Trust, take the leap of faith, and jump in, dive in, basically. Queen King. Queen King of Pentacles is a beautiful combination of the heart chakra and the divine solar plexus. Sometimes we will our way through the world. Sometimes we feel our will through the world. And this is a good sense. And it's also a nice balance between the feminine and the masculine energies, working with our worth and our value and being willing to walk strong in the world with the right attitude and the right approach. Better resources coming in. We're willing to resource ourselves in ways that we might have not been comfortable with before, that we may just be going forward with our own heart vulnerability as well and finding the new power that that brings, especially with the Fool card beside us. That's going to drive a lot, especially if we take the leap of faith. Then we're going to have strengths. We're going to have the ability to see our way along the path with new courage and new opportunity to shine. That's how I'm feeling that happen. Yeah, good. And then the other queen, King of Pentacles. This is great. I mean, first we've got the king and the queen card, and then we've got the queen and the king card. So let's go back to the page of Pentacles since she's starting us. And if this is representative of children, then, and these are the king and the queen and the king, then we could be having something come onto the world stage about all of this gender disformity, basically, and all the warped sense of what to do and the agendas that have been pushing this gender war on the planet. It could be really interesting. Then it could be bringing to new light the dystopian. I feel like there's just going to be a lot more in the news about this, and maybe there are studies, maybe somebody's done some research, because this can be a research card, and the Hierophant can certainly be literary. Sometimes the Hierophant uses its age-old wisdom and writes books about it or writes papers about it, or maybe there's studies about it. So I really have to think that this could be quite a little bit of more to do with the gender wars right now, and the way that the government has pushed an agenda on the most vulnerable populations. So there could be new ways that the world is fighting back, that the children are fighting back, that the parents are fighting back, and people are just going, listen, you have to have both your feminine and your masculine internalized in a way so that you can feel into your divine feminine, and spiritual aspects of yourself can speak through your being, and then you can will that into the world with your masculine traits and your ability to push forth your own personal heartfelt agendas. There could be a lot of talk about fixing all of that nonsense about thinking that kids know what they need when they're minors and they don't even understand their own bodies, let alone their own minds or their emotional pursuits. That would be a nice way for the moon to begin. or the season to begin, the spring, with new ideas and new thought forms. And she's hanging in our doorway to the future. So we are being more empowered with the embodiment of our divine masculine and our divine feminine. Men have the same issues, sometimes they don't want to listen to their own divine information, and they feel like, maybe they're not strong enough if they're listening to that part of themselves. But we are strong when we culminate both aspects of ourselves, and if we're willing to use them in the right proportions at the right time with the right amount of spiritual force and God divine force. Good. That sounds great. Now we have this card with our March new moon. So, and now we have it with our April full moon. It's possible because of the way the God force has come in, and this is now in our future line, that we had to get activated by more of our own spirituality and our higher purpose and our higher calling, and that this 7 is helping materialize it onto the earth plane in a way that we are able to materialize and manifest the things that we really need. Also, some of this is just wishing and praying and affirming, and that's all it will take for you to bring into the world the things that you need and want. So that's fantastic. And more strength. We had this also in our last spread, in my last moon spread for the new moon. And this time it's upside down. Now these cards were in the last spread, and here they are in the upside down. So does that mean they're being negated, or does that mean that we're bringing more of them to the forefront? I'll let you decide. You can interpret that one for yourself. My guess is that we are, there's just more available to us. If we're willing to pull in our feminine and our masculine and our feminine, and if we're willing to take the deep dive and allow God God force, our creator, to push us forward, or even our higher selves, even our invisible allies, any sign of the forces that are bigger than just us and our mind and our personality here on earth. That's what's funneling this whole show here. And we're going to have a whole lot more happen that's going to be more exciting and more beneficial, and of course more possible under the daylight that we are shining. Here's another Queen King, and she's the Queen King of Swords. Of course, the Queen took over the kingdom. We do know the divine feminine is rising and wants to speak. So this is a mental plane. It can show itself in telepathic ways, where you're just picking up things because you're so sensitive and so open and so vulnerable to the new energies, that you could just be being fed, spoon fed from your ancestors and your spirit guides. And it can also be that you're just so telepathic, you're picking it up off the cosmic consciousness airwaves, and you just get a sense of the best thing to do or the best thing to say. It does affect the throat chakra, and it can also be, more connection on internet and things like that. There could be more going on social media, more truth coming out in social media rather than the normal headlines and things like that, like the fake news, like the fake news could be outnumbered this time round. And anyway, there could also be the sense of, sometimes this is, to me, I feel like the medical field and needles and preventative maintenance and things like that. So there could be a little bit of an overlay with some kind of health issue or medical issues or things like that. It could be nurses in the news, that kind of a thing, or some kind of passion project. And let's see what else I'm getting off of that too. But more communication. It used to be where people were afraid to talk about things that were important to the day. Now nobody's afraid. It feels like, you know what, this all has to be talked about. We have to come to conclusion. We have to come to terms. We have to come to an awareness and a sense of recognition and retribution and all the rest of it. So it feels like like the political world is being grabbed by storm too, somehow shaken up a little bit as well here. Yeah, so there could be new spokespersons in certain powerful positions and things like that. For those of us who are already open in our mind's eye, in our truth, in the way that we feel the truth and we're willing to harness the truth, then yeah, you could be getting some wildly interesting awakening regarding, sudden shocking truths that are hitting the airwaves. And here's the King of Pentacles. Wow. So we had the Queen, King, the King, Queen, and now we have the King. Sheesh. We're ending with the King. Yeah, we're ending with the King of Pentacles. This is like, the King, the King, the King of the material world and our finances. Yeah, so this could really be, there could be a lot hitting the financial world, I guess, in April too, with all of these pentacles coming up. I mean, wow. First we had the King, Queen, then we had the Queen, King. Now we got the King. So we could just be moving into way more powerful examples, and they're saying powerful exacerbations. That's an interesting combination of words. So, finance could, yeah, so I do feel things going on in the financial world. You know what? Pentacles do have a lot to do with our own value and the willingness to hold value for ourselves. And we did have that Wheel of Fortune just kind of fly out of nowhere earlier. She's always making sure that we hold our value and we rise high above rather than, default backwards. And this is probably also giving voice to the parts of us that need to know our value, speak up for ourselves, and be willing to rise in our self-esteem without the arrogance. This is more of an exalted version of our worth and our self-esteem. And anyway, you could just be really looking at your finances a lot and being willing to reflect on the things that are going to bring you the most value or the most bang for your buck and things like that. Very interesting spread. I'm Ellen Marie Francisco. Thanks for coming into my channel. Sure appreciate your presence here. And until I see you again, have a good everything. Bye for now.